No, and that's one reason I do mentoring as well, because I didn't know anyone growing up as a solicitor or a barrister, and I find it important to give other people who are going through the same process I did more of a assistance in terms of applications, what it's actually like to be a solicitor, higher rights advocate.
Exactly. And because there are certain things in these applications that people are looking for, for example, they want to see at the bar, people want to see advocacy experience. And if you don't have someone giving you that little nudge, it can be hard to know that that's what you need to be doing in preparation. If someone's got a dad who's a high court judge and, a mum who's a barrister or, a Supreme Court judge, let's say, then they're obviously going to be told, if you want to be a barrister, you need to make sure you're getting advocacy experience from university. To start thinking about who you're going to shadow, what X, Y, Z. And I think that's what I'm trying to replicate. I'm trying to almost be like a little fairy godmother to some of these students, and just give them a little nudge in the right direction.
It is. It's still such a closed world. It's so difficult to find that information if you don't have it already at hand. It's like that phrase, priceless to those who can't afford it, free to those who can.
Exactly. Yeah, completely.
I wanted to ask, aside from the damage that you could argue the profession is doing it to itself by just missing out on a huge pool of very talented and intelligent people, if they aren't recognising the importance of diversity, what do you think the importance of diversity is at the bar?
I think it brings a range of perspectives, and that's so important in a job where we're representing the general population. In both my criminal and my family practice, I'm representing ordinary people from a complete range of backgrounds. There is no typical criminal or typical person who ends up in the family court, as much as people might like to believe there is. There's not. I've represented people from all different types of backgrounds, different racial backgrounds, of course, different genders, different ages, from different class backgrounds or different socioeconomic backgrounds. And so as a profession, our job is to be those people's voice. Like, we are their voice on sometimes the most important days of their life. Many of my clients have been at risk of losing their children or losing their liberty. And that's a really important job. And I think that clients expect that our profession properly will represent the population. It's not just about our profession and our kind of internal look at, morally, should we be diverse? Clients expect it. They expect that we are working alongside a range of people, because our job is to represent a range of people. And if we only ever see certain people as defendants, behind bars or behind glass screens in court, that will shape our own prejudices and our own views of those people or people from that background. And so it's really important, just on a kind of our own experience of different people, and making sure that we can properly represent people from a range of different backgrounds, that we are regularly mixing with people from a range of backgrounds. And the easiest way for us to do that is within our own profession. Our own profession has a duty to make sure that we're all mixed and diverse, and that we're making sure that no view is being excluded.
And sorry, just to quickly follow up on that, because I was wondering if you've ever felt almost the reverse of that, almost in a way that you'll get some women solicitors, for example, in divorce, and they want a male, women clients in a divorce might want a male solicitor because they have an internalized notion of what strength or professionalism looks like.
Absolutely. Yeah, God, sorry, I didn't even let you finish your question there. But no, I mean, I was so keen to be like, yes, absolutely. because it does happen. No, and I think it does. And I think that, you often get, for example, male sex offenders who want female counsel, because there are naturally some perceptions that, that they think can be kind of combated by having counsel from a particular gender or particular race. I remember early on in my practice, I went to represent someone who had been charged with a racially aggravated assault. And when I went along, I think they were surprised to see me, because the racially aggravated assault was against a black woman. It was a white man. And I think he felt probably quite uncomfortable, because actually, I had, personal characteristics which were relevant really to his offense, in that he was alleged to have, expressed a very racist attitude towards a black woman. But I think what even in that case is a good illustration of this. What I reminded myself of in that case is that I'm here to do a professional job. My personal characteristics, yes, they might help me have a more informed view of the world, or a more informed view of some of my clients, or a more informed view of the criminal justice system. But as a barrister, I'm a professional. I'm not there, in my capacity as a, as any one of my personal characteristics. I am there as a professional in that environment, and that's why I could still represent this person. In fact, actually, he got acquitted. So it shows that actually that in these circumstances, you kind of have to detach an element of your personal identity. And so yeah, I have absolutely no doubt that there were clients that will pick me because of my characteristics, and clients that probably won't. And the problem is the bar, I say problem, but the bar does allow for that, especially with direct access increasing, where clients can go directly to barristers. I have no doubt that in domestic abuse cases, women often want to be represented by other women, sometimes for legitimate reasons, sometimes just because they just want it. Sometimes it might be a safety mechanism, sometimes it is just they just want to be represented by a woman. So I think I definitely think it happens. I think it's hard in some cases to stop that. I think that what I would be upset by is if, for example, and there's been cases like this in the press before, where solicitors or clients have said, I don't want this person because of their personal characteristics. If I got put forward and someone was like, actually, I don't want her because I don't want a mixed race woman representing me. And my clerks were like, okay, sure, we'll swap it. That would obviously be a problem. And that goes for anyone. I think if someone called up and said, I don't want a white man representing me, equally, a clerk should not say, oh, that's fine, we'll swap it. Because you should, that is just overt discrimination for no good reason. And I think that stuff we can monitor, and we can make sure that as a profession, we don't allow that to happen. But in terms of like internal, if someone thinks to themselves, this is who I want, and then just doesn't say it, I don't think we can stop that, unfortunately.
Alex, you've written a fantastic book called In Black and White. What was the motivation behind writing that book?
I was actually asked to write my book after a tweet went viral. I've had 2 viral tweets, and honestly, they shape your life. But the first one was probably the one that kind of shaped my life the most, I'd say, in that I tweeted that I was going to be representing people in the courts of England and Wales, prosecuting and defending in a couple of months' time. And that this is what a barrister looks like. And I tweeted my call to the bar photo. And I remember tweeting that, kind of thinking, oh, this is, I kind of want to get the message out there. It's a bit, I've touched on it in some of the other questions, but, I really wanted people to kind of see that actually, yes, you don't have to look like this image we often see of a barrister, a kind of white, middle-aged male. Actually, there are others out here. We're here, we exist. And I wanted to send that message out to young people. I did not expect it to pick up in the way it did. I remember waking up in the morning being like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I feel so seen. Like I just feel really under the spotlight. And then, so off the back of that, some literary agents got in touch and said, did I want to think about writing a book about some of my experiences and my background in my journey to the bar, but also the kind of first year of practice. And I remember thinking, yeah, I do want to, but I don't know if this is a bit premature. I'm a pupil barrister. This could all go very wrong. And so I decided to write it anyway. And I just decided that I would wait and see if I got tenancy before announcing that I'd written a book. And it's all, I'm very pleased to say it's all been great, really. I've actually really enjoyed writing it. And I think it's achieved what I wanted it to achieve, which really was to try and reach out to young people and let them know that yes, there are some people in this profession from a range of backgrounds, and you can do it too, and we want you to do it too. We want you to come to the bar, we want to see a more diverse bar. But also that actually I wanted to highlight some really important issues that I was seeing in my practice. The over criminalization of Black people, the fact that there are so many vulnerable people in our system, so many vulnerable people, people who have grown up in the care system and have been exploited in some way, people with mental health difficulties, people who are living in poverty. I kind of wanted to shine a light in a really human way on some of these people, because I feel that the way that most people hear about crimes is through the media, through flash stories that are kind of like, this awful person did this awful thing, and we lose the human element. The thing that I feel, or James, I'm sure you felt many times, sitting there opposite a client who is just another person who might have just made a mistake in their life, and many people make mistakes, and some people are just more unlucky than others. And I found it so hard when I was explaining to my friends and my family to capture that really human element, that this is just another person. This isn't like a villain, it's actually just another person. And hopefully my book has captured that.
And that's one of the reasons we're doing this podcast series, is to try and show that most people, when they come into contact with the criminal justice system, it is just through the media. It's X got arrested, this is the sentence they've got. They have no idea what the process is. So from the point of the allegation and arrest through to a potential prison sentence, it's trying to put the pieces together so people have more of an informed picture, an idea of what actually happens in the system.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic, because that's exactly what people need. I think people need to have that. I know we've touched on this, but it is such a closed off system. It's so kind of justice behind walls. And it's funny because we talk about open justice in the UK all the time, and actually so much of it is done in, four walls of a courtroom that only the defendant and their legal counsel or their family members are in. And no one really hears about what's happening, behind the scenes.